Here are 14 timers that you probably haven't heard before, so strap in and let's upgrade your map awareness. This is the latest junglers can recall and still get to their buff on spawn, so if you're the jungler and resetting for a sweeper or to heal from poke, make sure you're channeling your base by 55 seconds. And if you poke an enemy jungler out and make them reset after this timer, congratulations, cause they'll be delayed on their first clear. Missing the first minion of experience can completely ruin your early lane phase. So here are the timers for when the first minion dies in each lane. So make sure you aren't overleashing your jungler or AFK watching YouTube, as tempting as it might be. If you take poke and need to reset, make sure you start channeling by 110 to not miss any minions. Scryer's first spawn will always be nearest to the side lanes, and it can be used to get enemy camp timers and also deny vision. Blast cones really change the gank ability of lanes and therefore change where we need to ward. Denying blast cones as they spawn is especially helpful against low mobility junglers like Udyr or Olaf, forcing them to take the much longer path through river if they want to gank blue side bot or red side top. Honeyfruit is just a nice thing to remember if you need some sustain or if you want to send Scuttle into a feeding frenzy. If you see an enemy use a ward at level 1, then their second charge won't be up until 4 minutes in-game. So these are great dark zones for junglers to look for, especially in mid and top where laners have to ward for themselves. The second rotation of jungle camps starts spawning at 4:15, so keep this in mind for jungle tracking, as efficient junglers will be there to start their second clear shortly after they spawn. And ping it out for your teammates to make sure that they're aware of this timer as well. On the other hand, if the enemy jungler spends too much time on the other side of the map, maybe forcing a gank, counter-jungling their second rotation will put you miles ahead. Buffs, however, will come up a little bit later, but you can use these timers the same way you'd use other camp timers. The first buff will be up around 6:45, but the second buff can vary depending on the enemy jungler's first clear. If they went buff to buff, it'll be around 7:15, but a full clear will put it closer to 8:15. If your laners haven't been denied large amounts of XP, then they'll hit level 6 on the waves that meet at these timers. Make sure that you capitalize on these timers if you have super impactful ultimates like Malphite, Twisted Fate, Sejuani, or Malzahar. You might even benefit from the element of surprise if the enemy hasn't been tracking XP closely. This does go both ways though, so maybe don't gank that Mord at 5:45 as he's autoing the cannon to hit 6, unless you want some alone time with him. Everyone knows that the first Scuttle spawns at 3:15, but they have reduced XP, so who cares? We want that third beefy Scuttle. If the junglers path to opposite sides and take crabs on spawn, then the third crab will spawn around 5:50. But if they path to the same side, one of them will get that Scuttle and then they have to cross to the other side of the map for the second one. And in that scenario, the earliest third Scuttle might come up is 6:20. So laners, be ready to get prio and help your jungler out if needed. And we all know that the best use of Herald is to secure plate gold before 14 minutes. But what's the absolute latest we could take it while still getting plates? If you drop it within range of a turret, it takes 10 seconds to complete the summoning and charging animations. And it takes 10 seconds to walk into turret range from the Herald pit to top or mid outer turret. The average time it takes to secure Herald is 23 seconds or a little bit longer if you don't have any help. So realistically, the latest you can start Herald and expect to get turret plates is 13:13. Hopefully most of you know this one already, but teleport becomes unleashed at 14 minutes. So before diving bot the way that you like to, make sure you aren't going to get turned on by the top laner TPing in. Right now it seems like dragons are the most important thing in the game. Well, I've got timers for that. If you took every Drake on spawn, the earliest soul point you could have is about 20:45. So if you're trying to speedrun a dragon soul, that's your time to beat. And if you're worried about the enemy team running you over, you at least have 21 minutes to scale before worrying about soul. Besides the 5-minute flash timer of the ADC, here are all the late game timers you should be aware of. If you can't brute force the win off of a siege, then make sure you're using your Elder and Baron buffs to take down multiple inhibitors. That means the next time Baron and Elder spawn, the enemy will likely still have super minions crashing into their base, leaving them zero room for error if they choose to contest.